And welcome to a new episode of The Simpsons Did It. I'm your host, Steven Sklansky.
And I'm your co-host, Robert Skolansky.
And batter up!
Swing, bada, 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 swing, bada, bada, swing. I love this episode we are about to get into today. It is top 5 greatest Simpsons episodes of all time. I will fight anybody who says otherwise.
Even Barney?
Even Barney.
I don't know. Barney might win. He might knock your block off.
With one punch.
With one punch.
This episode is amazing. It's like, I think this might be the start of the golden age of Simpsons. This episode.
Well, we'll get into why we like it after we're done talking about it. How about let's talk about the episode first, and then we'll get into
season 3, episode 17. I'm just excited, man.
I know.
Excited. Season 3, episode 17. Homer at the Bat. And the title of this episode is a reference to the poem Casey at the Bat. So for all of you people who like reading poetry and you like sports and you've read this one, you'll probably get the reference. I've never read. I should have looked up Casey at the Bat just to read it, but I didn't.
I mean, I think anyone who loves baseball read it. I think I read it.
I don't think I've ever read it, and I probably should. No, I might have long ago. This episode aired February 20th, 1992.
So it was probably spring training, probably getting people hyped for baseball season.
So usually pitchers and catchers report on my birthday. At least the Mariners usually do, which is the 13th of February. So they're probably, I don't think they've started games yet at this point, but players are definitely at camp, getting their swings in, getting their throws in, getting strength and conditioning in.
Yeah, which is why Roger Clemens, Ken Griffey Jr., all these guys were probably just hanging out, just waiting for it to be plucked by Mr. Burns.
Yeah, probably. So the fun fact number 1 for this episode, all the players that they got for this episode, mind you, this episode was recorded in 1991. This was recorded a year early. All of these players, anytime they played the Dodgers or Angels in California is when they recorded their lines. So it like spanned like a few months to get all these guys into the recording booth to record their lines.
Guess you can't just fly them in, huh? During the off season, get it all taken care of in one shot.
They could have, but I feel like they recorded this episode during the summer months.
Oh, probably.
So anytime, and a lot of these players, I believe, played in the American League. So they probably played the Angels a lot more than the Dodgers because interleague play wasn't a thing yet. So I'm sure there was a few National Leaguers in there. So we get our chalkboard gag. And for the first time, we don't see the zoom in on the school.
Yeah, I mean, they do The Simpsons, but it doesn't go through the town, like through the clouds, through the town, and then into the school building with Bart, writing on the chalkboard. It's literally The Simpsons.
They probably did it. They probably did it
right to the chalkboard. Yeah, well, I mean, it's
this episode needed the time.
Well, yeah, it's just crazy that they didn't do that, and so we got our chalkboard gag.
Yep, which is I will not aim for the head.
Spitballs, spitwads, throwing.
He has a slingshot.
Slingshot, yeah. Bart probably wanted to aim for the head.
It's Bart.
Yeah,
he's a daredevil. Well, he's also a little devil. Also, we don't see Bart leave the school, which again probably a time-saving thing. Although, if you're gonna save time for this episode, why not just do the chalkboard gag? Go straight to the couchboard gag.
The couchboard gag?
Yeah, the couchboard gag.
The couch
gag. Yeah. Just go straight from the chalkboard to the couch.
Yeah.
Or not even do a chalkboard.
But yeah, so it's like Bart doesn't... Okay, so after Bart usually leaves, then we get like Maggie in the grocery store, Marge... And,
we got that in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so, yeah. Okay,
but we didn't get Homer leaving the plant. We didn't have Bart throwing the the inanimate carbon rod at Homer where it like flying off.
But we did get a new sax solo, so that was nice.
Got a new sax solo. We see Maggie and Marge driving into home, and a new couch gag, which was they all skip to the couch, run into each other, knock each other out, and Maggie like sits on the couch, like jumps on the couch.
Well, it's so funny. They all run into each other and knock themselves like straight out. Like if you look at them laying on the floor, their eyes are closed, or I can't remember if it was like the little X, when they're like real.
No,
like
I don't think there was any X's. Because X's in the eyes
mean you're
usually
dead.
mean death.
Yeah.
So I don't think there was any X's.
But they were just smooth knocked out on the floor, piled on top of each other.
So they found a unique way to save time through the opening credit, which is weird.
Well, it's funny because the last episode, they saved time by doing The Simpsons and then just starting the episode. So it's like either do all or maybe nothing. I guess obviously if you write an episode, it has a certain amount of time and you got to be
creative.
Yeah. And well, we all know The Simpsons are very creative.
They are very creative.
They've been on for 30 plus years, so they got to be very creative.
Yeah.
All right, so the episode opens with Homer just shoveling donuts down his throat.
And this is, they got the donuts from a place called The Rolling Donut.
Yep, that was we knew that from the...
when Homer was trying to get a job and the donut,
rolled in. Yep, so they've been using the same company for years. I mean, why not? If the donuts are good, keep it going.
Now, here's the thing about this scene. So we see Lenny putting the donuts on the counter, and I'm assuming it was a box of 8.
No, probably 12. Usually a dozen.
Okay, because Homer ate all of them.
Yeah. But Lenny tells him to slow down or he'll choke.
Don't tell me how to... So, I wonder if this is where So, a lot of the times when somebody will tell me to do something, I'll tell them not to tell me how to live my life. And I wonder if this episode... I've been saying it for a lot, like the last few years now, and I haven't seen this episode in a while. But I wonder if this is where I picked it up, because after Lenny tells him that, he goes, don't tell me how to eat donuts.
Well, yeah. Where do you think any of us pick up any of our words?
Vernacular.
Yeah. Where do you think anyone tells us to do that? And then Homer starts actually choking, which is really funny. And they're all like, "What do we do? Scare him. Have a drink water. Hiccups. Yeah. Oh, that's for hiccups." And then they run over to the wall. And there's a picture for how to do the Heimlich maneuver, where it shows a guy literally choking on an entire lobster.
So, fun fact about this scene, this scene actually is credited with saving 2 lives. So we see the picture of the Heimlich maneuver. In May of '92, Chris Benz was able to save his brother's life by performing the Heimlich maneuver, having seen it on this episode.
He just didn't know how to do the Heimlich maneuver. And who the hell is Chris Benz?
I don't know. The guy who saved his brother. He saved his brother's life.
But why is he important?
Because he's the guy who saved the guy's life.
I'm sure 1,000 people get their lives saved by the Heimlich maneuver on a daily basis.
But did they learn how to do the Heimlich maneuver by watching this episode?
I don't know. It seems sketchy.
And then there's another in December of '07. Another guy was able to save his friend's life by recalling watching this episode. So, The Simpsons are inadvertently responsible for saving at least 2 people's lives by showing the poster of the Heimlich maneuver.
I don't know. Well, the poster doesn't show how to do it. It just shows a guy wrapped around some dude's waist.
That's how you do the Heimlich maneuver. You go around and you just pull.
No, that is not how you do it. Go take a class from the fire department. There's
I mean, you pull up. I know how to do the Heimlich maneuver, but...
Well, real Heimlich maneuver posters actually show you like a 6-step way of actually doing it. That just showed a guy hawking up a full lobster, which I don't think you could swallow a full lobster.
The other thing I'd like to point out about this scene, which I thought was very interesting, is when at the beginning of the episode, when you see Lenny putting down the donuts, there is a poster behind Homer that says labor laws, which is in every company's break room. Like my break room has it. I'm sure all of your break, like
it's a legal thing. They all have to have it.
So I think that's a nice little detail they put in there.
Yeah, but remember, Mr. Burns wants to take away some of their constitutional rights for working there. So, I mean, yes, by law you have to have the sign, but I feel like Mr. Burns is still taking some of the liberties with it.
Probably.
But right next to the sign, so remember, they don't actually save Homer's life. So I don't know how they got those two people said they learned it from The Simpsons off of a poster, because they actually saw the sign. They didn't actually go to save Homer's life after he was choking.
I mean, I think if you just look at the sign, you could probably figure it out. I mean, you don't have to be an expert at the Heimlich maneuver.
Yeah, but no one actually performed it on Homer either. They literally saw the Heimlich sign. It's like, oh, look at this. And then literally right next to it was the softball sign-up sign. And then Homer apparently just saved himself.
Yeah, and he just coughed up all the donut in his mouth.
Yep, and went over to sign up for softball. And everyone was like, I don't know if we want to sign up. Because last year the team was 2-28 and it was their best season.
God. Have you ever played on a company softball team?
No, none of our companies had softball teams.
So I believe my first TV station had one, and like there were other companies in Green Bay that also had it, but I never got to join the softball team. That would have been fun though, because we both played baseball growing up.
Yeah, I just never felt like softball was very like athletically challenging. Cause
what? It's the same as baseball.
Well, baseball, you get a pitch. Yeah, when we played, maybe our pitches got up to like 50 miles an hour, maybe 60 at most. But softball, the ball's coming in at like, I don't know, 10 miles an hour, underhand.
Okay, that's
with a giant metal bat.
In professional softball.
Yeah, but this isn't professional softball. This is a company league, probably underhand pitch softball.
Well, it's a beer league, as we'll find out soon.
Exactly. So I don't think that's probably why I never wanted to do it, because company softballs are that type
but free beer.
Right. I don't think I never heard of kegs being sitting on first base. But then, Homer is trying to convince everyone, hey, I have a, secret weapon that I'm going to use for it. And so I can't remember the dude's name. Charlie. Okay. All right. So we get a shot of Charlie imagining what Homer's big secret weapon is. And he imagines a big giant mitt.
Yep.
Which probably not legal.
No, probably not.
Carl imagines Homer bouncing on spring shoes from base to base, which
I don't think Homer's skinny enough for that.
No, and I don't even know how you would get from base to base with
they're like loaded springs.
Yeah, I guess. But I feel like you would get out faster with the ball being thrown than running, because you'd have to jump up and then down onto the base.
Correct.
And then Lenny imagines Homer with a giant laser bat, which I can't quite remember how it actually functioned.
He shot. So Lenny imagined Homer shooting the infielders with it and turning them into dust.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
So also in the break room, when they're talking about the softball thing, there is a barrel of radioactive material just sitting there.
Well, it's a nuclear power plant, so.
But outside of the break room, shouldn't that be stored, somewhere safe?
No, not at all.
No. Well, we'll find out later about all that radioactive waste. So, Homer goes home and he tells Bart about the story of how he got his bat. And I love the fact that Homer is like, son, let me tell you the story. And Bart is like, it's a bat, isn't it? And Homer's like, there was one night, and this is the story about how I made my bat. But like, Homer didn't react in the way of like, oh, how dare you guess that it's the bat? He just like completely ignores Bart.
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
So the story of how Homer constructed his Wonder Bat, he was locked outside during a rainstorm, and it was lightning and thundering. And there was a sheet of metal just sitting by the house, apparently. And he used it for cover, went under a tree, lightning struck the tree, and he was like, and the branch just spoke to me.
Well,
to make it into a bat.
Just to let everyone know that a large piece of sheet metal is actually a lightning rod.
Correct.
So don't do that.
Which is probably why the lightning hit the tree. Also, I like the fact that at the beginning of the story, he's like, yeah, I shoved aside my homemade football. Yeah. He had written NFL on it. And it was just like, Homer, that's not a football. That's just like, you found some rubber, put stuff in it, and like stringed it up like really incorrectly.
Yeah, that was awesome. And it would look like different pieces of leather too. Like, yeah, like different just material of leather, different colors and everything. It was so freaking funny.
So then Homer's like, we see a montage of Homer like working on the bat, like he put nails into the wood and he got a blowtorch out. And then Marge is like, homie, come to bed. And he brings the log with him and he's shaving it down. And Marge's like, go back to the garage. And then at the end of the story, we come back to present day and we see Wonder Bat. And it looks like a normal bat. I mean, he carved, like, there's a little, like, lightning bolt in it. And he wrote Wonder Bat on it.
I mean, where did the nails go? Did he realize that it was dumb and pulled them out?
Probably.
Maybe he actually used the blowtorch to burn in the lightning bolt and Wonder Bat.
Probably.
All right. So at least the blowtorch, because I love how he puts the plate over his face to help, sparks and stuff, but it's a bat, so there would be no sparks.
So this whole story is actually a reference to the movie The Natural, which I still need to see.
How have you not, dude? your movie like watching is like I do not understand it.
The Natural is like 45 years old,
but it's a classic.
It is a classic. Also, don't hate me, but I've never seen Field of Dreams either.
Oh my god. Okay, you know what? Okay, I need to get a new co-host because this is just ridiculous, dude. I just watched the Field of Dreams the other day at work.
Wait, why?
Because I work at a TV store and we can put whatever we want on the TV.
So, yeah, that's two sports movies I definitely need.
Oh my god. I know. Let me guess, you've never seen Miracle.
I have seen Miracle.
You've never
Miracle's
seen
a great movie.
Little Big League.
I've seen Little Big League. That's a kid's movie. I've seen that movie like 30 times.
You've seen that movie 30 times, but you've never seen The Natural. No. Wow.
So,
you're going to get a lot of hate.
Probably.
It's a good thing you're not signed into our Simpsons Gmail account. I'm going to get all your hate.
They're like, hey, Steve, can you direct all this hate towards your brother? Okay, cool. So Homer, as we mentioned, called his bat the Wonder Bat. And Bart's like, wow, how many home runs are you going to hit with that? Well, there's 30 games. We get about 10 at-bats a game. So 3,000 home runs.
Well, that math doesn't add up.
You're a zero off there, homie. It's 300. Yeah. Also, the bat in The Natural is called Wonder Boy. So, Wonder Bat, Wonder Boy. So,
yep.
Again, cool. The Simpsons love their older movie references. Now, granted, we're getting into the 70s with some of this stuff now. So,
yep. And so we get the first game of the season, which is the power plant employees versus the Springfield police force.
Is there enough cops in Springfield for this?
Well, I mean we only see Wiggum, Lou, and
no, because after the first home run, you see a bunch of cops shooting off guns.
Well, yeah, but I mean in general in this town of Springfield, we only see
3 or 4.
Yeah, but I mean you'd have to have an entire police force. I mean, look at any
look
at any cop show. Well, no, look at any cop show. Even if it's from a small city, you only have 3 or 4 cops that are on your, roster of, cops. But I mean, there's a whole department usually.
So I mean, in a small town like Springfield's got to be what, like 100 people.
What? No, I'm sure the town of Springfield overall has maybe 3,000 people. I mean, we just don't see everyone.
I mean, I suppose that's true. But even in a town of 3, I guess you'd probably, 8 cops. Okay. If anybody actually knows the population.
At least 9. Oh, yeah. You need a full baseball team.
Yes. Softball team.
Or softball team. Either way. And so, I like how Lenny tells Charlie to hit the ball to him, and Charlie misses the ball and just throws his bat at Lenny. These guys are good. These guys are good.
Well, they went 2-28 last year.
Yep,
it was their best season.
It is their best season, and so we get the umpire. So Homer and Chief Wiggum are up at the plate, and we get the rules of the game. And so the umpire is like, "Okay, let's go over the ground rules. You can't leave first until you chug a beer. Any man scoring has to chug a beer. You have to chug a beer at the top of all odd-numbered innings. Yep. Oh, and the fourth inning is the beer inning." And Chief Wiggum, he's like, "Hey, we know how to play softball."
Oh God!
And I like how after that scene, they kind of have a big shot of the entire field, and you see a keg on first base.
Well, I mean, you get to first base, you got to chug a beer.
Yep.
I think there was an episode of a sitcom in like the mid 90s. I, for the life of me, can't remember the show I'm thinking of here. It might have been the one with David Spade where he like runs a company.
Oh, you're talking about Rules of Engagement?
Yeah, I think there was an episode where they played beer softball and everybody was just drunk.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think
that's that. Yep. And so we get our first at bat of Wiggum at the plate, and the police scanner goes off, and he's like, it's like armed robbery, and he's like, "Hey, turn that off."
And he swings and misses too because he's distracted.
Yeah.
By the police radio that they should probably leave the game.
Well, I mean, okay, so there would have to be other cops on the force. Maybe there's that one guy that doesn't play softball that's actually dispatching. Because you know how in every cop show, there's always like, if the cops are out doing something, there's always like one cop left at the station being dispatched. Yeah. He's like the odd man out and can't
But if all the cops are playing softball, then, well, you just had an armed robbery go off without a hitch.
Yeah. Well, they probably knew the cops were playing softball. I was like, now's the best time to rob a bank. Yep. And so we go up in the stands, and Marge is filming the softball game and commenting on everything. That guy wants to hit the ball, and he does. And he runs in that direction. And everybody's happy.
I love how she's like, and he runs in that direction. Like anybody, I suppose if somebody's watching the video later on, I mean, that's fine. But like, just watching the game and hearing her do it, it's like, which direction, Marge?
Yeah,
Marge, is he running towards the outfield? Is he running towards third? Is he running home?
Yeah. I like Bart. He's like, "Marge, Mom, I think I should do the commentating." He's like, "I got it."
Oh man. That's kind of one of the things I kind of do at sporting events is I kind of do a little commentating here and there.
Yeah. And I like how, a cop hits a home run and all the cops are so happy they're shooting their guns in the air, and Wiggum's like, "Hey, put those away."
So when you played baseball, you guys didn't have bubblers in your dugouts.
There was usually, not in the dugout, no, but usually there was one either right behind home plate or very close. At least the baseball park that was like out in the Kenosha area, the Four Diamond one, usually right behind the dugout or right off the dugout behind the home plate.
But not in the dugout.
Not physically in it, no.
I thought that was kind of weird because Wiggum, while after the home run, he's getting a drink of water. I'm like,
why is he getting a drink of water? There's beer at first base.
But he's not at first.
Oh, you're only allowed to drink if you're actually on the playing field?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Plus, I mean, he's probably dehydrated from drinking all that beer.
And running. Yeah.
And running. So you need some water. So, but I just thought that was an odd detail that they put the water fountain / bubbler.
Yep.
I'm going to say water fountain / bubbler because I know people get upset with that sort of thing. So, but that thing being in the dugout, I just thought was kind of interesting.
And so, okay, let me set the field here for you. I'm going to set the field. Okay. So it's the bottom of the ninth. They're down by 3 runs, and the bases are loaded. Yep. And Homer's like, "Here's my secret weapon," and Lenny's like, "It's a bat."
I have a magical bat.
I have an enchanted jockstrap. And so Homer steps up to the plate and hits a game-winning grand slam.
So question, in the original airing, now I don't think Disney ever cuts out
No, I don't think so.
Cuts out scenes. Now, like reading this online, like the synopsis, apparently in this scene, because I rewatched this episode after watching it for the notes because I love this episode, and I should have watched it on DVD too just to see if it was there. The Simpsons wiki is probably wrong because they're like, oh yeah, after he hit the home run, there was like fireworks that go off. And I rewatched this entire episode, and there's not a single scene where fireworks go off.
No.
So either Wiki got it wrong, which is very highly likely.
Yeah, you should really stop using that.
Well, some of the information is correct.
What did you just say there? Some.
So
I would probably stop using that.
Well, fine. I'm sure there's a Simpsons wiki page. So anyways, there's no fireworks. Although I feel like in the original airing there might have been, though.
I don't know. We did buy the season 3 DVD just for the sole fact we needed episode 1, so
I'll have to look.
We could go back and watch that. And so I love after he hits a home run and gets a home plate, Homer starts mocking Wiggum after his game-winning home run, and Wiggum's like, Eddie, get that guy's license and registration.
I do also like the fact that when Homer hits the home run, he knocks that guy out in the park with his family having a picnic. Now, I mean, so my backyard is baseball fields.
So someone could hit a home run and whack you in the head?
No, because all the baseball fields, so the one baseball field that actually faces the houses in my neighborhood home plate faces away from my house.
That's probably a good idea.
So, and it's only not little kids, but kids, like a youth league playing baseball, and they're probably 7 to 10 years old. I don't think any of those kids are going to be strong enough to even hit an Apo field or pull one to my house and break a window. I'm not really concerned about that. Now, if adults start playing on those fields, I'm going to be a little worried. And you've seen the baseball parks because you've been to my house.
Yeah.
So I have to imagine those people were probably far enough away. Most likely, it looks kind of like they're sitting on a hill. Now, yes, this is slow pitch, and Homer is probably got some strength because he has the girth. It's not necessarily about how.
Hey, look at Babe Ruth, man.
Yeah, he was a big guy. It's swing speed and how hard, or how fast the pitch is coming for velocity. So it's a funny gag. I love it, but I don't know if it's actually going to happen. But I love the gag. I think it's hilarious. So we go back to The Simpsons, and they're watching Homer hit his game-winning home run. I love how Bart and Lisa argue over getting Homer a beer.
Yeah. Hey, let's watch that again in super slow-mo.
Oh my god. The funny thing is, would Lisa and Bart really be enthralled with Homer over a game-winning home run in a beer league?
Well, they're kids, though. They just saw their father do something amazing.
Which doesn't happen often, I guess.
Exactly.
So then we get scenes of the power plant team traveling around Springfield. And the team traveling from city to city by train with the pennants is a reference to the 1942 film The Pride of the Yankees.
Now that I've never seen.
No, well, it's a 1942 movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure our parents saw it, or at least our dad did. But
yeah, I mean, our dad will watch any baseball movie.
I mean, I would watch any baseball movie except for the two that I have.
Yeah, apparently.
So we see there is an East Springfield. But it's so weird. Okay, so you get East Springfield. Who were the players? Because Fort Springfield was Apu. Yeah, we saw.
And Sanjay and them.
Yeah.
I can't remember the players from East Springfield.
I don't really remember. And then there's also Springfield's Heights.
Would that be is that Heights means it's a wealthy, rich?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah. So who are these? Okay, so I like how it's a company softball league. So, okay, so I can't remember the first team, but when they go to Fort Springfield, they're playing Apu. So is that the quick, not necessarily just the Quickie Mart, but just like a bunch of gas stations, like convenience stores, pooling their employees together to make a team.
But Fort Springfield?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess
it's really weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. Kind of odd.
It's really weird.
Like that, but that's what doesn't kind of make sense. So if it's a company softball league, okay, so I get like Chief Wig, like the police, and I'm sure like the firehouse would have one, and but the Quickie Mart has Sanjay and Apu are the only two employees. Where you get more players from?
I don't know. Well, maybe they're getting more players from East Springfield.
Yeah, maybe.
But why you would do this with the towns and not the actual teams?
Well, I mean, you could have done. So, I mean, obviously they're playing Shelbyville. So,
but the Shelbyville power plant.
Well, yeah. But they're playing other cities. So why couldn't you make up other? Is that too difficult?
Occupations?
Well, not that. I'm just saying, why couldn't you make up other cities from surrounding Springfield? So why would you do East Springfield, Fort Springfield, Springfield Heights, and then Shelbyville? I mean, you've already made up capital cities, so you could do capital city. Why not just make up other towns or even use real towns that supposedly surround Springfield?
I don't know.
Especially so we learned they were 2 for 28. So there's at least 28, well, maybe not 28 teams. Let's say cut that in half. Let's say they play each team twice home and away.
So 15 teams.
So at least 15 teams.
Yeah. So you have 14 other teams besides, 13 other teams besides the 2 power plant teams.
Exactly. So it just seems, at least if you're showing off other cities that you're playing against,
have like who they're playing against.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like they kind of missed the boat on that one just a little bit.
So I love how in the East Springfield game, Homer like calls it a shot, which I think every person who loves baseball has done at least a few times in their life. I know when I would like practice playing baseball or not in an actual game, but like practicing, I do the Babe Ruth point. What kid doesn't love doing the Babe Ruth point? So Homer points, he hits a home run, but not to the spot he pointed, and he's like, he thinks about it and he turns and he points to where he hits the home run, which is great. I love that. So then that like we see everybody getting their magical bats, and so Carl has a piano leg, and this is actually a reference to Norm Cash of the Detroit Tigers, who actually once tried to bat with a table leg in a game where Nolan Ryan was extremely overpowering and threw a no-hitter.
They allowed that?
I'm sure they did. Well, he said that he tried to. Obviously, they're not going to allow him to bat with a table leg. I'm sure it's probably more of a joke thing anyways.
Yeah.
He probably had the table leg and no. So, after the 3 games we watch, we go to the Springfield Heights Millionaires Club, which is located in the Springfield Trade Center. So is that a reference to the Twin Towers?
I would have to imagine. I didn't know Springfield had any skyscrapers.
Well, it was pretty big.
Yeah.
Skyscraper. Yeah. I wonder if that was a reference to the trade centers.
I would have to imagine, yeah.
Yeah. So, and there's a sign in the lobby to the Millionaires Club that reads, "You must have more than this to enter. $1 million."
But I like how the $1 million is etched on a nameplate, like a removable nameplate. So do they change that every so often? Like, okay, we're going to allow the people who have at least 1 million in today, but tomorrow you have to have at least 3 million to enter.
Yeah. So we see Burns and the owner of the Shelbyville plant discussing their softball game, and they're like, well, let's have a bet. And the guy's like, all right, $1 million. And like Burns like freaks out because he thought they were going to do the whole negotiating thing.
Yeah. he's
like, well, you give me a number and I give you a number, and screw it, $1 million. Okay. Yeah. Because I think that's where Burns was probably going to settle, but like he thought they were going to negotiate, which is what you usually do in a bet.
Yeah.
Usually.
So this isn't the one. What do you remember which episode it was? Like Burns made a bet and it was like for $1. Do you remember what episode that was? Like for some reason, I thought.
Are you sure? Are you sure you're not thinking of the movie Trading Places?
No. It's a Simpsons thing. That might have been the reference that they were doing in The Simpsons, but They were making a bet for $1, and it was just a low wager, whatever bet. We'll have to come back to it.
We'll get there. We'll get there. So after that, we cut to Burns and Smithers in his office. I love this exchange. I love it. Burns goes, Smithers, I've been thinking, is it wrong to cheat in order to win $1 million bet? Smithers goes, yes, sir. Burns, let me rephrase that. Is it wrong if I cheat in order to win $1 million bet? No, sir. Who would you like killed?
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, Smithers.
Well,
really killed? To win a bet?
What was that episode where Smithers was trying to kill? Was it killing Homer, where he had like hired the hitman and then he changed his mind? What episode was that? It was a few ago.
It wasn't in this season.
No, was it season 2? Where like Homer couldn't go through with it? Or Smithers couldn't go through with the killing? Or beat up? Or maybe it was him getting beat up. Remember Smithers was in the office?
Yeah. He wanted to get him beat up, not killed, and he couldn't go through with it.
So Smithers is no slouch to hiring assassins or something like that. But I like, so Burns then is like, I've decided to bring in a few ringers. Professional baseballers. We'll give them token jobs at the plant and have them play on our softball team. Honus Wagner, Cap Arson, Mordecai Three-Finger Brown. And Smithers like, sir, I'm afraid all those players have retired and passed on. In fact, your right fielder has been dead for 130 years.
So the entire lineup that Burns wanted was Cap Atson, Pie Traynor, Jim Creighton, Gabby Street, Nap LaJoie? I don't know. Harry Hooper, Honus Wagner, Shoeless Joe Jackson, and Mordecai Three Fingers Brown. Those players are all dead and gone.
Yeah, and Burns is like, damnation. All right, find me some good players. Living players. Scour the professional ranks. The American League. The National League. The Negro League.
So
does Mr. Burns still think there's a Negro League?
So I probably, he thinks those other players were alive. So
apparently.
So I actually looked this up. The last game played in the Negro American League was 1958, and the last All-Star game for any Negro League was 1962. However, historians have had a hard time pinpointing when the Negro American League actually came to an end, because there was one baseball team who played for a few years as like a sideshow thing. Kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters, but probably worse. So, I mean, if the Simpsons writers knew about like the history of the Negro League, it's very possible that Burns would think that it's still around.
Yeah. So now we get Smithers going on the hunt. So his first stop is the annual baseball card convention.
Apparently, Jose Canseco in person.
I kind of wish.
Well, of course he would be in person if he's there.
I kind of wish we would have looked up to see if that was an actual convention that they had. Oddly enough, I feel like there would be.
I think there used to be like conventions for trading cards.
Yeah. And so Smithers offers Canseco $50,000 to play, and he says, well, that's a pay cut, but hey.
It'll be fun.
It'll be fun.
And apparently in the original script, as we get to the end, they wanted Canseco to miss the game by waking up with Krabappel, and Canseco's wife objected to the script, so they had
come on, have a fictional relationship with another Simpsons character? That would be kind of awesome.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Yep, and so Smithers next up is Mike Scioscia, and so he's wandering through the forest wearing like flannel, and then...
he's hunting.
Yep. Well, no, Smithers isn't hunting. He's the one wearing...
is.
Yep.
Scioscia was hunting.
Yeah, Scioscia was hunting, but Smithers wasn't, but he's wandering around wearing flannel instead of orange. And so all of a sudden there's a shot, and Scioscia's like, hey, sorry, I thought you were a deer. And Smithers starts laughing. He's like, that's okay. Happens all the time.
Well, he was wearing he was wearing his suit still.
No. He was flannel. I thought he was wearing flannel.
No, Scioscia was wearing flannel.
Oh. Well, why does Smithers historically get spotted as a deer?
Well, because he's wearing brown.
I guess. But does he wander through the forest aimlessly often looking for hunters?
I don't know. Oddly enough, 92 is the last year Scioscia played baseball.
Oh, so maybe he was just out enjoying his retirement then.
No. His last game was in October of 92. Remember, this aired in February of 92. So this aired before the last season for Sosha.
Gotcha.
So it was kind of odd that, obviously, I don't know if he had announced like 92 was going to be his last year in 91 or whatever it was. So I thought it was just kind of an odd. I was looking up some of the players and I was like, oh, Sosha retired in 92. All right.
So next up, we got Ozzie Smith touring the Elvis Presley home. And I like how Smithers decides to wear an Elvis shirt because we all know that Smithers is a fan of Elvis.
Yes.
Don Mattingly is up next and he invites Smithers into his home. He's all like, oh, come on in.
I don't know. I've never heard any stories about Don Mattingly as a person, but maybe he's just that nice of a guy in person. I don't know.
I kind of want to go to his house now.
He might kick you out.
Maybe.
If you just show up unannounced. Although...
Well, Smithers showed up unannounced.
That is true.
So next up, we got Steve Sachs, who is performing in a small band named after him.
The Steve Sachs Trio.
Yep. Next up, we got Roger Clemens. He was hired as the new security guard for the plant.
Yep. This is
back at the plant. Yep. So
this is back at the plant. Burns is introducing everybody.
Yep. Hey, we got some new workers for everyone. So I hired Roger Clements. He was hired as a new security guard. Wade Boggs was hired as a janitor. Seems kind of sad. Ken Griffey Jr. was hired as the new lunchroom cashier, and Daryl Strawberry was the last guy on the team.
Yes. That was so because we had met everybody else and he had introduced everybody else. So Daryl Strawberry was the last guy we were introduced to that we didn't know was on the team.
Yep. And then he's like, we'll just come up with all those jobs later on. And then he's like, well, wow, look at that. There's the company sign-up sheet for the softball team. And so they're like, all the people are grumbling and they're like, whoa, what's going on? And Lenny's like, well, with those guys on the team, you're not going to need us anymore. Well, duh.
Oh my God, I love it. That was fantastic. I don't know. Because I feel like that was in the vernacular of like the mid 90s, early 2000s.
I think so, yeah. So after everyone's kind of up on stage and signing up for it, Homer walks up to Daryl Strawberry and is like, you're Daryl Strawberry. Yeah. Are you better than me? Well, I don't know you.
Well,
I don't know you, but I think I think I'm better than you. It's like, oh.
He's like, yeah, I don't know you, but yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's Daryl Strawberry. He was a great ball player.
Yep.
So now we cut back to the Simpsons house and they're eating dinner and Homer's sad because all these major leaguers signed up for the team. And I love how when Marge is talking to the table, Maggie is taking peas out of her bowl and feeding them to Santa's little hut. That was great. I love some of the background stuff they do.
Yeah, the Simpsons always kind of have to have some people doing something.
Yeah. So Bart's like, well, you told me if I tried hard enough and I did all this stuff, I could be good. And Homer's like, no matter how good you are at something, there are a million people better than you. And Bart goes, well, if you can't win, don't try. And that's his new motto.
Yep.
I mean... But, Homer's not necessarily wrong to say there are a million people better than you. There's always going to be somebody better at you, but that doesn't mean to quit trying to be the best.
Yeah.
And obviously in this sense, Homer's basically saying what Bart repeated was, well, if you can't win, don't try. So no matter where you are in life, always try to be better.
But yeah,
listen to Homer.
That's the crazy thing about Bart's relationship with Homer is Bart actually, for how bad Bart really is, he still looks up to his father for advice.
Yes, he does. So then we cut back to the softball diamond and Burns is now the coach.
Who was the coach before? Or were they just, kind of a team, team mentality and...
Yeah, it was just a team mentality. And so he's like, well, you're not going to drink beer anymore and no soda and no coffee. Now you're going to drink brain and nerve tonic. And I love how he's like, well... the only side effect is gigantism, but that's really rare. And so he gives Ken Griffey Jr. the bottle and he goes, And this is from the Flaming Moe episode where he goes, well, there's a party in my mouth and everybody's invited. And
no,
apparently
excited.
Griffey was...
Oh.
Everyone's invited.
Oh, right.
There's a party in my mouth and everyone's invited. And apparently Griffey did not understand this line and got very frustrated with this line.
I mean, I actually funny enough, I was just listening to an episode of Simpsons is Greater Than. And they were actually talking about this thing with Ken Griffey Jr. And and they did like hundreds of takes of it, and he just couldn't get it right, and they just kind of had to pluck one, which, you know what, I mean, to be fair, these guys, and they were kind of saying it, these guest stars, all the guest stars that they've had, not all of them are professional actors and don't know how to act. But what they really could have done for Griffey, which maybe they did, and I don't know, is if he's having a hard time understanding the line and frustrating how to articulate it, why didn't they just show him the Flaming Moe episode? And
I mean, it's possible they didn't have it on hand. Maybe they tried explaining like why you're saying it,
but an explanation versus seeing someone else do it. Or could they have got who does Moe? Is that Hank Azaria, or is that Dan Castellaneta?
No, Hank Azaria does Moe.
So why didn't they just get Hank Azaria to come along? It's like, hey, this is how you do the line.
I don't know. And apparently Griffey's dad was there to help coach him too. So maybe it's one of those scenarios where there's too many people trying to explain it. Because like I remember when we were younger, we went bowling, and I know you were doing it out of the goodness of your heart, trying to help me, you know, be a better bowler. But I got super frustrated. And I wonder if it was one of those things where they're like, well, say it this way. And he was just, you know, it was frustration for him.
Yeah.
Which is why he was having a hard time. I don't know. So, you know, Burns hands Griffey the tonic and he just starts drinking it, says the line. And I love the fact that any scenes in the rest of this episode with Griffey in it, he's still drinking the tonic.
I know. He's like, he got addicted. It must have tasted really good.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it was actually bottled Flaming Moe's. I mean, it was purple. It was purple.
Maybe Moe decided to keep the recipe and sell it as a nerve tonic.
Yeah.
Theory.
Yeah.
The brain and nerve tonic in this episode is actually Flaming Moe's. Anyway, so Burns is like, all right, it's start to train, and he brings out medicine balls, and we cut to like a gym type area. And I love how Homer's in one of those personal steamer things.
Yeah.
Where you like lock yourself in, and it's supposed to help you lose weight, but we all know it doesn't. So then we go back to the field, and Strawberry is like bunting, which why you would bunt with Daryl Strawberry is anybody's guess. And Burns shows,
he's like, I'll show you how to do it.
How to bunt. And like the ball hits the bat and Burns just goes flying backwards.
Well, okay, to be fair, it was
I can't imagine that ball is.
Well, it was Roger Clemens pitching,
yeah.
So I mean, maybe.
Yeah. Also, Mr. Burns is wearing a jersey throughout this entire thing with the word Zephyrs on it, which is supposedly a reference to the Twilight Zone episode, The Mighty Casey, which features a team called the Hoboken Zephyrs.
I don't think it supposedly references it. I think it does.
Oh, okay.
Well, you said it supposedly references it, but
I don't know why. I don't know why I said supposedly.
But I don't think it would be supposedly.
No. So yeah. So it Twilight Zone reference. Gotta love those.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere.
Yep. So I love how like while Smithers and Burns are watching them practice, Smithers asks Burns, well, what are you going to do when you win the bet, or if you win the bet? He's like, I'll just throw the money on the pile. Like, do you need $1 million?
No, but
if you're just going to be like, he's Scrooge McDuck. Scrooge McDuck.
Well, yes, he is. But remember during the Bart gets hit by a car episode where the money pile literally breaks through the ceiling and falls on him?
That is true. That's
true. So, you know, and then, so Burns, for whatever reason, decides, let's just get a hypnotist. And yep. I was like, why do you need a hypnotist? You know, you have a good team. They're going to win. Yes. But he's like, But I like, he's like, we'll be good. It's like, I was like,
We'll
you will
be
give
jolly,
100, you will get 100, you will give 110%. That's impossible. No one can give more than 100%. By definition, that is more than anyone can give.
Apparently this was the hardest thing to edit because, as we stated earlier, everybody did their lines separately, and obviously, like with the hypnotist scene, they wanted all the voices to sync up.
Yeah.
And well, trust me, I've done this as an editor, trying to sync up sounds together. It is very hard and very difficult.
Yeah.
So kudos to whoever edited these scenes, because I could tell, because I've worked in television long enough and I've done enough editing, the voices were synced up fairly well, but not at like 100% sync.
But then again, not everyone is probably talking at the same speed and relatively anyway. So I mean, it's probably accurate to how groups of people repeat things.
But it was very well done. I give props to the editor for, I mean, there's only like 6 voices or maybe 7, but still to sync up even at a minimum 6 voices, that had to be really tough and probably very time consuming.
Yeah. So
good job to the Simpsons editors.
Yep. And I do love this gag though, because how many times as kids, on sports teams, did we always hear our coaches say, let's give 110%? I just love the Simpsons for this. That it just hits home.
Yeah. Well, you can't give 110%.
Yep.
Impossible.
Yeah. So then we cut to Carl and Sosha, kind of walking side by side, and Carl asks him, hey, why do you keep showing up? He's like, well, unlike in the big leagues, if I mess up here, it's no big deal. And then he dumps the nuclear waste on the ground. He's like, oh.
Well, he freaks out because he was like, well, when you mess up in the big leagues, the press is all over you.
Yeah.
And he dumps and he's like, oh no. And Carl's like, it'll be fine. He goes, I love this. So, because, in the big leagues, Sosha is under a lot of pressure. And at the plant, you screwed up. Who cares?
Yep.
It's just radioactive waste.
Yeah. So I don't know. Okay. So
and they're not wearing hazmat suits. Why aren't they wearing hazmat suits in this scene?
Yeah. So
they're hauling around radioactive waste.
Well, yeah, they don't have to. They don't have to. Don't worry about it. It's okay. So the next scene, we see Bart and Ralph as captains picking their own teams. Now, I feel like this was a reference to something. Like, I'm trying to remember all the little kid sports games movies that we used to watch, where there were 2 teams picking.
100% know. I don't know if this is a reference per se to movies, more to real life, I think, because a lot of times when kids get to pick their own teams, they always try to pick the best.
No. I'm not talking about that. I think there was a movie or TV. I think it's a movie where I would pick a kid, and then a pro player would walk by or something, and they would pick them, and it just happened. I'll have to look into that. I think there's an actual movie.
Okay.
For
our listeners out there, if you know what Steve is talking about, you know where to reach us.
Yeah, but I love how Bart's picking all the kids, and then Ralph's just picking all the major leaguers that just happen to be walking by the park.
But why are they? I was gonna say, well, wasn't Griffey just standing with the kids? Was it Griffey just standing with the kids, or was it Sachs? Like, one of the players was just standing there, and the other 2 just happened to walk by.
Yep. That was
also, why is Ralph picking?
How did Ralph become a captain? That was the other thing. I'm like, how did Ralph become a captain? Usually the 2 best players are usually the captains.
Yes.
And so this right here kicks off the start of the Mattingly Signbirds joke. And so it's just really funny. Bird's like, Mattingly, you're not a hippie. Cut those sideburns. He's like, okay, Skip. And
so I love the fact. So apparently Mattingly was actually in a kerfuffle with the Yankees, because the Yankees are notorious about no facial hair, no long hair. You must look clean cut. And Mattingly had the long hair, and the Yankees actually, I don't remember if Mattingly actually cut his hair, but he was taken out of the lineup for his long hair.
That's crazy. You don't see that anymore. You see sports players with flowing locks now.
Yeah. So apparently, and it's funny because a lot of people thought that this joke in this episode stemmed from that incident, but this episode was aired a year before that incident happened.
So prediction.
So either prediction or the Yankees saw the episode.
Yeah.
And
hey, that's a good idea.
Good point. He has long hair.
Good job, Mr. Burns. We love you.
Yeah.
So now Homer comes up to bat thinking, oh, I'm going to show these guys. And Clement throws his, rocket fastball and breaks Homer's bat. Which, to be fair...
allegedly.
Well, yeah.
Allegedly.
Which, to be fair, it was a
I don't want to get sued by Clemens.
To be fair, it was a homemade bat. So... I mean, I think, yes, bats do break, obviously, when hit in the right spot and stuff like that. But to be fair, it was a homemade bat made from a tree branch. So I think it's probably in the realm of possibility that Homer's bat would break by a Clemens fastball.
But not when he's just standing there holding it. Like, if he had swung, it probably would have broken because Clemens used to be able to throw 95 to 100 mile an hour pitch.
Yeah. So yeah, Roger Clemens, I like how he's like, oh, did I make, so now this is the end of the practice. So they're going to the starting lineup and everyone's kind of looked to see if they made it. And Homer's like, hey, did I make it? He's like, yes. He's like, I did. Are you Griffey?
In your face, Strawberry.
He's like, in your face, Strawberry. He's like, oh, I thought you were Roger Clemens. It's like, oh.
No. Roger Clemens was asking.
Oh, he was like, oh,
so Homer went up to Roger Clemens, and Clemens thought Homer was Griffey.
Yeah.
For some weird reason. And I looked this up. I should have known Griffey started in the league in 89, but I couldn't remember. Clemens started in the league in 84. They were both in the American League.
Yeah, so you'd have to think that Roger Clemens would know who Griffey is.
Yeah, like Griffey, like in the early 90s, like basically when he started career, he was a huge rock star player. Like everybody knew who he was. Even if you weren't on the team, even if you didn't really pay attention, everybody knew who Griffey was. I wish they had chosen like Don Mattingly, well, maybe not Mattingly, but maybe Steve Sachs.
Yeah.
And not Griffey. Because, like, the joke, I think, would have landed better if it was not...
Like, someone that Clemens wouldn't have actually known who it was.
Like, I don't know who Steve Sachs is.
Yeah. No. But that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe if it was someone that Clemens might not have actually known who they were, like, it might have landed a little bit better.
Steve Sachs.
Like Steve Sachs.
like Steve Sachs. So then we cut back to Burns, like, writing up his starting lineup, and Clemens is last because he's the pitcher, and that's sometimes how it goes now in the regular baseball season. Sometimes pitchers bat eighth.
Yep.
And he's like, I'd love to see what would happen, or I don't believe all my ringers are going to go away. 3 misfortunes, maybe. 7, possible. But 9, I'd like to see that.
Uh-oh.
So
now we get to see that.
Now we get to see a string of bad luck for players. Eddie and Lou pull over Steve Sachs thinking he's committed crimes
in New York City.
Like some guy got killed in New York City, and so they arrest him. We cut to the hospital, and Sosha's in bed, and Hibbert's like, well, he's got acute radiation poisoning. And I love how like Sosha like talks like very like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it like word by word, very slowly, because he can barely talk. And he's like, can I play softball tomorrow? And Hibbert's like, he's like, yeah, you'll be lucky to make it overnight.
Yeah. But just to let everyone know, just to let you know, Steve Sachs was sentenced to 6 life terms for various murders in New York City.
Yeah, they cut back to that scene later on. But yes, that's what happens. And then we're in the hospital still, and a nurse is like, Hibbert, you need to come take a look at Ken Griffey Jr. And they wheel him in, and his head is huge. It's
like, good God, gigantism.
Oh my God, that was hilarious. And then Jose Canseco is... he walks by a burning house, and a woman's like, my child. And he goes in and saves the child, and a cat meows, and he goes to save the cat, and then her piano player, and he saves, and we cut back later when Burns is like, where are all my players? And we cut back to during the game, and Canseco is like, Conseco pulled out like everything from her house, and to be fair, that house would have been burnt to the ground by then.
Well, not only that, but where was the
joke?
Yeah, but not only that, where's the hell's the fire department? I mean, I feel like the fire would have been put out by then.
Maybe they're like the cops and they were playing a softball game.
Yeah, right. There. Okay.
Or maybe they were bowling.
Yep. No, that makes sense. That makes complete sense.
Yep. So then, or no, actually, don't we learn in like a later episode and like a later season, they don't actually have a fire department?
Well,
wasn't there an episode where they formed the fire department?
I don't know if they form it or if it was, I don't know if they form it or if it was already, already set up. But I mean, obviously for those, I mean, it's not really a spoiler, but we know that like Apu, Mo, Homer, and a few other people are on the volunteer fire department. But I guess we don't know if it's already established that they're on the volunteer fire department or if it's something that gets made. Yeah. We'll keep you posted on that.
Yeah. So then we cut back to The Simpsons, and Homer and Marge are in bed, and Homer's like, I'm not good at anything. And Marge's like, you're good at snuggling. Yeah, but my friends can't watch.
Yeah, but my friends can, Marge. And then Marge is like,
yeah. And then we cut to Moe's, where Barney and Wade Boggs are arguing over who England's greatest prime minister is. And do you remember the names?
It was Lord Palmerston. It was Lord Palmerston. Oh, now I can't remember the other guy.
Yeah, I should have written it down. But anyway, so Wade Boggs like pokes Barney, and Barney says the name, and he just hits Boggs and knocks him
Lord Palmerston.
And then Mo like says the name that Boggs was saying.
Yep, he's like
a sarcastic
Lord Palmerston, and then punches
and he
Mo.
Punches out Mo. Oh my god, that's fantastic. And then we cut to the Springfield mystery spot, and their sign is where logic takes a holiday and all laws of nature are meaningless. And Ozzie Smith goes and pays it, and he falls in, and I love when they cut back to him, he's like falling and yelling, and the equation E=mc² comes by, and he takes a picture of it.
Yeah.
He's like, ooh, and then he keeps falling. And Ozzie Smith has actually said, and I've heard this actually, where he wants to come back and do a guest spot to get out of the hole. I think that would be amazing.
I know, that would be really kind of funny.
And now we go back to the game, and Clemens is on the field clucking like a chicken. And so Burns goes to the hypnotist, and he's like, look what you did to my starting pitcher. He thinks he's a chicken. I should
report you to the Hypnosis Association.
And the hypnotist is like, but I did a good job. Oh, good job. Well, it's not your fault.
Well, you did a good job.
You did a good job. And apparently Clemens actually did his own clucking noises.
Nice. They just didn't get a chicken sound?
No, he just did it himself.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah. So then, Daryl Strawberry runs out to right field, and Bart and Lisa are yelling at they're yelling at Daryl Strawberry. They're taunting.
No. You forgot a part though. You did forget a part. So when the Simpsons are they cut to the Simpson house in between that, yeah. And Homer's like, where do you think you're going? Because everyone's going to the game, and Lisa's like, to the game.
Yeah.
And Homer's like, no, I don't want you to see me sitting on my worthless butt. And Bart's like, we've seen it, Dad.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
So then Daryl Strawberry takes his place in right field, and Bart and Lisa are jeering Daryl Strawberry because, Strawberry's better than Homer, and Burns wants to win the bet.
Yeah.
And so, they're like, Daryl. And I've done this. I've done this at hockey games. I don't think I've ever done it at baseball games, but I've definitely done it at hockey games.
Oh no, and
I love it.
When me and my friends would go, whatever right fielder we didn't like or whatever, we would so do this.
Yeah. So Marge admonishes the kids for doing it. At least it's okay. They're pros. They can handle it. And you cut back to Strawberry.
It's with like a little tear. Oh, that was so good.
And so we cut to the stands, and apparently there's a peanut vendor throwing peanuts, and he hits a car somehow, and he hits people. He even throws one onto the field. How did this guy, A, get this job, and B, why is there a peanut vendor at a softball game? Normally, wouldn't you just bring your own?
Well, okay, but
peanuts.
But the funny thing is, it's not like this was like yes, it was a bet, but it's not like this game was an actual like championship game or anything. This was
it was. No, it was.
This
at the end of the episode,
I didn't realize this was the championship game. Is that actually?
Yeah.
I thought this was just. I just thought this was a game between the two teams, like a regular season game.
Or maybe it was just the last game of their season, because at the end of the episode, you see a picture.
Yeah.
Like they take a picture, a snapshot. So I don't remember if it said championship.
Oh,
but
it
it's
is.
Definitely the last game of the season.
It is. The team remains undefeated, facing the rival Shelbyville for the championship. Yep. Okay. So this is the championship game. Okay. Perfect. Yep. And so the first up is Daryl Strawberry, and he's like,
Burns is like, Smithers, come massage my brain.
Yeah. He's like, Strawberry, hit a home run. It's like, okay, Skip. And Strawberry hits a home run. He's like, I told him to hit a home run.
He hit it onto the highway.
Where
is this field? Like, where is this softball field? Because in the first game they played, Homer hits a guy in the head
in a park. Now, but maybe they moved this to. I guess we really never see the stadium as a whole. Maybe we do. I'm not 100% sure, but maybe they moved it to a more.
I think it's the same stadium as the first game, because Marge, she's filming the game and Homer's scratching himself, and she pans down to the bleachers because she doesn't want to put that on the camera. So I think it's the same place.
Maybe Strawberry just hits it farther. Strawberry just hits it farther.
Well, it is Daryl Strawberry.
Yeah. Correct. And so
let me set the scene for you. I'm going to set the scene this time. It's the bottom of the ninth.
No. You missed Homer scratching himself.
I just said that.
Yeah, but you didn't get Bart's line. You didn't get Bart's line. And
What was Bart's line?
Yeah, Marge is like, Bart, tell me when Homer's done scratching himself. And it literally pauses for like, I don't know, 6-7 seconds. And Marge is like,
seconds?
Yeah, I told you to tell me when he stopped scratching himself. I'll tell you, Mom. I'll tell you. Okay, now you can set the scene. Yeah.
Setting the scene. It's the bottom of the ninth. There's 2 outs. The bases are loaded. The score is 43-43. Granted, it is a softball game. I honestly am not surprised by that score.
So apparently the ringers aren't as good as we thought they were.
Well, don't forget. The only ringer that was left was Daryl Strawberry.
Oh, right. Never mind. Wow. Woo. Right over my head.
Yeah. Yep. So, yep. That's the scene.
That's the scene. So
what do you think happens next?
Yeah. So we would think, Daryl Strawberry's up. You think, game-winning grand slam right here. But no. So Burns pulls him aside and says, good game, Strawberry. Hit the pine. And he's like, but Skip, I've already hit 9 home runs today. It's like, yes, but
that's a lot of home runs.
Yes, but but you see, Strawberry, when there's a left-handed pitcher, I want to put in a right-handed batter. It's called hedging the odds, or what is playing the percentages.
Which, to be fair, in baseball,
they do that.
That happens a lot.
Especially
when they bring a lefty in.
Yeah, especially in the later innings, because you know it's
although with the new rules of the major league, you have to face a minimum of 3 batters now coming out of the bullpen.
Yeah,
so
but
if you come out of the bullpen,
no, but this wasn't a pitcher change. This was a batter change.
No, but I'm just saying in the new rules, that's what they have to do if you pull a pitcher.
Yeah, but this isn't the point we're trying to make. We're talking about.
I'm just saying what the new rules are.
Yeah, but we're talking about pinch hitters here. But anyway, so
yes,
Homer comes in. And Bird's like, all right, let's go over the signals. And he's like, if I tap my cap once, not twice, but thrice, or my belt buckle.
No, so he goes, if I tap my hat, that means the signal's a fake. If I want you to bunt, I will tap my belt buckle, not once, not twice, but thrice.
It's like,
and then he keeps going over, and Homer is like, I just want to go bat.
I know. It's like, you got that, Homer? God. Yes, sir. And so he goes up to the plate, and everyone's booing because they thought they'd see Strawberry.
Except for the Simpsons.
Yeah, they're standing up. Yay, go Dad! And so Homer, first pitch.
Homer looks over at Burns.
Yep, and he's doing a bunch of signals.
Looks over at Burns, and he's confused. Yeah.
And so the first pitch comes in. whacks Homer on the head. And Marge's like, oh my God. And Lisa's like, no, Marge, it's okay. It's a hit by a pitch. And so he'll get to take the base.
So here's the thing. Marge is concerned because Homer got hit in the head.
Yeah.
And also because she doesn't know the rules of the game. And Lisa wrongly states that a hit by pitch counts as a hit. It does not count as a hit. It counts as a free pass.
Yeah.
But it does not count as a hit. And I'm very disappointed that the writers got this wrong.
Especially during a baseball episode.
Yeah. Because a hit by pitch does not count as a hit. It does not count towards your batting average.
But Lisa was correct. But Lisa was correct that he gets on base and the team wins. So she was, she was technically, yes, it's not a hit, but she was correct on that Homer basically helped win the game. And Marge is like, well, at least when he wakes up, he'll be happy to know that the team won.
And I love the fact that when the game-winning run comes in, he like pushes Homer off of home plate so he can touch it.
Well, yeah, legally it doesn't legally it doesn't count as a run if you don't touch the base.
That's correct.
Yeah,
you are.
Yeah. So the team wins. I love how they're taking like the knocked out Homer. They're all like taking him off the field, all cheering which was really funny. And then we get a photo.
We get the team photo.
Yep, we get the team photo at the end. And then we have Ozzie Smith appearing as a ghost in the photo with the team.
I love that.
But so is he actually dead then? Or did they do that as like, I guess Ozzie Smith couldn't come back coming out of the hole if he's a ghost.
But it's the Springfield mystery spot. So maybe he can astral project his body.
Yep.
And also Griffey's in a wheelchair still drinking the tonic, by the way.
Yeah,
in the photo.
He's addicted, man.
He's addicted.
He's never coming out. So we close out the episode, not with your normal.
A little differently.
Yeah. So we get the song "Talkin' Softball," which is a parody of "Talkin' Baseball" by Terry Cashman, and I got the song. I love this song. I got the song lyrics for you. Well, Mr. Burns had it done. The power plant had it won. With Roger Clemens clucking all the while. Mike Scotia's tragic illness made a smile, while Wade Boggs lay unconscious on the barroom tile. We're talking softball from Maine to San Diego, talking softball. Mattingly and Canseco, Ken Griffey's grossly swollen jaw. See Saxon is running with the law. We're talking Homer, Ozzie, and the straw. We're talking softball. Maine from San Diego, talking softball.
It just repeats itself.
Mattingly and Canseco, Ken Griffey's grotesquely swollen jaw. Yeah, that was good.
It's great.
That's a good song.
Great.
And then
I love it. And then it's also on their. I think it's also on their first album.
Yeah, and then at the very
that song is on their first Simpsons album.
Yep. So and then at the very end, the whole part is actually like
there's a crack of the
bat, and crowd cheering sort of thing. So I think it's one of the only episodes we don't get the shush guy.
Yeah. No, I think he still shushes after the crack of the bat.
Oh, does he? I guess I'm
pretty sure
didn't
he still
quite hear it.
So before we get to our final thoughts and character profile, they did Springfield of Dreams, The Legend of Homer Simpson, an hour-long mockumentary about the episode in the style of Ken Burns' Baseball, which aired on Fox to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the episode. And they also inducted Homer into the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. The only player not to appear in this mockumentary was Darryl Strawberry.
That's kind of sad.
It's sad, but I think, I'm assuming he had prior engagements, but it kind of makes sense because, Homer took over him for the final plate appearance. I highly doubt that's what happened, but it's a nice little coincidence. But if you have a chance to check out this mockumentary, it is fantastic. Absolutely enjoyable. If you love this episode, highly, highly recommend trying to find this mockumentary. I'm sure it's probably on YouTube or you could find it somewhere on the internet. It was fantastic. It was well worth my hour of not doing anything.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't like mockumentaries anyway?
Yeah. So final thoughts.
I mean, we're just going to cut it short here. I'm going to say 5. Everything's coming up Millhouse. I mean, really, everything about this episode is fantastic. I mean, there's nothing really to say. I mean, throughout this entire episode, we really kind of said the things we liked. I mean, there's very little that we disliked. I mean, extremely little.
If I could go above a 5, everything's coming up Millhouse, I would, but obviously that's not a ranking system. I love this episode. I was super excited to know Ken Griffey Jr. was in this episode because he is my favorite baseball player of all time. So that even made it a little bit more special for me. It's fantastically written. The jokes are amazing. I mean, I'm pretty sure this episode got not inducted, but placed into one of those historical museum things that they do for TV and film. It is fantastic.
And I think this episode probably has to go down as the episode with the most cameos. I mean,
there were 9, right?
Yeah. I mean, we could go out and probably look at it later. But all 9 baseball players were there. I mean, maybe the only one that might come close, and we'll do a count, would be Homer Palooza.
Oh,
that might be the only other one that I could think of that would have more. But we'll keep you posted. So we're at 9.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
Are you a hippie? Are you a hippie? Cut your sideburns.
Oh, we did. That's the one thing we forgot to mention. The one thing So Don Mattingly comes out. I'm sorry, this is at the end, guys. I'm really sorry. And you guys are probably like, why didn't they mention this? Okay. So at the very end, before, the reason why Mattingly didn't play is because Burns is like, hey, what are you, a hippie? I told you to shave those sideburns. He's like, Mr. Burns, I don't think you know what sideburns are. He's like, damn, shave them. So he goes off and then he comes back with over half his head, literally shaved off. And he's like, Mattingly, I told you to shave those sideburns. You're off the team. And so as Don Mattingly is walking, he's like, well, he's definitely better than Steinbrenner.
And by anybody who doesn't, George Steinbrenner.
Yeah, George. Right. Yeah.
And for anybody who doesn't know baseball, George Steinbrenner at the time was the owner of the Yankees. He passed away, God, 5 years ago now. He's been gone for a while, but yeah, that was fantastic.
That was such a great line. That was awesome. All right, so let's finish up with our character profile today, and we have Aristotle Amadopoulos. And for those of you guys that don't remember, he is the owner operator of the Shelbyville nuclear power plant. And I like how he thought his team was so great, which I guess if they score 43 runs, they're pretty damn good. His native country is Greece. His attire, double-breasted jacket, shirt open, several buttons to reveal numerous gold chains, sunglasses, and a large ring.
Yep.
His favorite greeting, 3 kisses on the cheek. Persona, moody. He's a moody guy. And he hangs out at the Springfield Heights Millionaires Club. Which, I mean, I guess if you have $1 million, I mean, that's a good place to hang out.
Yeah.
So
awesome. Awesome episode. Love it. What do we have coming up next week?
So next week is our 1-year anniversary episode. And just for you guys, we got a special guest to talk through it. I'm not going to give it away. Maybe during our trailer Thursday, you guys can, maybe I'll put a little hint in there for you. Yes, we have a special guest coming up next week, which will be awesome.
1 year, guys.
I mean, it's amazing. Yeah. Thank you guys that have stuck through us through this first year. I mean, it's amazing to hear the feedback. It's amazing to, keep doing this. We all love The Simpsons. We all love quoting them. Our life basically revolves around it. Duh. So, thank you guys for all the support. For those of you that already know, we have stickers. I mean, we've been giving a lot of free ones away, but we do still like the support. So make sure you guys do head over to buymeacoffee.com, /The Simpsons Did It Pod. Donate whatever you feel is necessary. All your donations do go to getting more stickers and eventually, more swag. So the more that you guys donate and you guys like our swag, just you only have to donate once. We're not asking for 100 donations for any reason. Hopefully we do in the future have a membership.
But you'd be our favorite people if you did.
Hopefully soon we do have a membership program. That's kind of what we're going for, is to have a membership program. So yes, that would be a monthly fee of 5, 10, 15. And as we gradually increase them, you get more and more stuff. So we do want to do hopefully a trivia night in the future and more giveaways and stuff like that. So keep that in mind as you guys are listening to us. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram if you haven't already. Facebook, The Simpsons Did It Podcast. Instagram, The Simpsons Did It Pod. Twitter, Simpsons Did It PC. So make sure to go over there. If you guys want to check out old episodes, either listen to them on your podcasting platform, or we have them all over on YouTube for all you YouTubers out there. Make sure you guys subscribe and comment on there. We get some great comments. That's the one thing I do like about YouTube is the comment section on YouTube. We get comments all the time on each individual episode. So thank you guys for that. And I do respond to every single comment we get. So keep doing that. So yeah, until next week, I'm your host, Steven Skolansky.
And I'm your co-host, Robert Skolansky.
And this has been The Simpsons Did It.
Shh.